good to have you all up here with us. We've got a great panel going on tonight. So we've got Jonathan from Maine Medical Robotics, we've got Jeff from Moon Surgical, we've got Lawrence from Image Navigation, we've got Nicolas from Medinbox. And I thought maybe we'd start with some easier questions, kind of lob out there. And first one I have for you guys is just tell us where you're from and something great to do from your city. Jonathan, we'll hit you first.
Speech defect, I'm from London. Thing to do in London is go for a ride in a black cab. They have to do a 4-year training course called The Knowledge, riding around the city on a moped, and also learn to speak Cockney rhyming slang, which is a street patois composed of couplets. I wrote a few down. Do you want me to quickly do one? Yeah, it's medical.
Do share.
So I got in the Flounder and Hiver and said, would you Adam and Eve it? Take me sharpish down the doubting cynic. I got a right Michael in my Paris. Happens when I have a horse or a pony. Reckon it's me chalfons. I'm going to need some Persians or a drum. Better yet, take me down the battle cruiser. I'm going to get right Brahms and Liszt because this ain't no bleeding bubble bath. And I'll tell you what it means afterwards.
I was going to say, I need a little bit of that, yeah.
I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area, and one of my favorite things to do is go out to the coast to a town called Half Moon Bay and just enjoy the waves and the ocean, but most especially eat at a place called Barbara's Fish Trap. And this is a place that has wonderful fish and chips and the most amazing clam chowder. But be warned, they only take cash, and so you gotta come equipped with a pocket full of cash and not credit cards. But it's a fantastic city and wonderful restaurant.
It's a beautiful part of the country. Lawrence.
Good afternoon. I'm located now in Jerusalem, and I think my 3 favorite things to do are: 1, the Machne Yehuda food market with many vendors. Don't buy the tea, the dried tea. But the spicy food, the non-spicy food, the noise, the confluence of people, it's great. It's on the light rail. Take the light rail around. And if you're in Jerusalem, go to the Museum of the Blind. It's fantastic. We're talking about augmented vision. That will give you the experience of what it's really like if you don't have sight.
So I'm almost the local one because I'm from the other side of the border, from a city called Toulouse. So most of the panel is from the other side of the ocean. But in Europe now, there's a very important actuality. It's the World Cup of rugby. Toulouse is the capital in France of rugby. So I would really recommend to see a game in Toulouse. We are feeding the national team. So we have something like 10 players and 15 in the national team. So good luck, England.
That's great. That's great. I'll give you a little share on my end, too, because lately, I'm from Boston. I'm going to bring you a little south of Boston, down to the Cape Cod. And lately, we like to try and swim with the sharks.
Yeah.
So if you don't know, we've got the largest population of white sharks in the world right now off of Cape Cod. Cool. Hey, the other one I want to throw out to you guys, just because I'm personally interested, what was your favorite concert or most recent concert or show?
There's a jazz club in London called Ronnie Scott's. Go there whenever I can. Amazing place. And now that there's no smoking in it, it's even better. So yeah, I go as often as I can. There last week. Wonderful.
I'm going to make you take me there.
With pleasure.
If you've worked with me, then you know that I'm a big fan of reggae, and my favorite concert was Groundation, which is a fantastic reggae band that was, one of my most memorable concerts.
That's great.
I love classical music in theory, but I will talk about an event I was actually to, which was my 9-year-old son's last baseball game. He is the strikeout king of his team. If you're in Europe, that's not like striker. It's not a good thing. It means you swing 3 times at the ball, you miss, you're out. So in the quarterfinals, 9 swings, 3 strikeouts. The semifinals, 9 swings, 3 strikeouts. Extra innings, bottom of the 7th. He's already struck out twice. He has 2 strikes on him, and he ripped the ball to the fence, hit the game-winning run. His friends poured Gatorade on him. It was a life-changing event for him and the family. That's my favorite concert.
Nice.
That's a memory for life.
For me, it's quite recent. It was last summer. We have a famous jazz festival, and there's a young piano player called Sofiane Pama. He's something like 26. He's just amazing. He was playing alone with a guy on drums, and it's someone to listen and to discover. It's just amazing.
That's great. As an 80s child, Def Leppard 80s rock was one of my favorites back then and my most recent one. So,
One-armed drummer.
all right, let's throw you guys some real questions. I want to give you a chance to really talk a little bit about yourself, your company, and really understand how it's changing the game in your particular space.
Well, so I feel a bit of a fraud because I'm here as I'm an investor and I'm on the board of Medical Robotics, but it's my fourth robotic rodeo. And I'm blessed by knowing nothing about anything, frankly. A number of years ago, I had the good fortune to be introduced to Yulun Wang, who was the true genius behind computer motion, but I helped him transition it from being a defense-based technology to a medical technology, and I, just got to do things that I had no right to be doing. And that company did really very well and became the backbone for what is now the Intuitive platform. And then Yulun's next rodeo was a company called InTouch, which was a holonomic platform for telemedicine, and I served on their board. Yulun's become a wonderful and very dear friend, and I've helped him now with his World Telehealth Initiative, and I came across this technology. Someone cyber-stalked me, actually, through LinkedIn, and I saw this technology, and I thought, my goodness, if you can do true image-guided surgery in neurosurgery. I did 6 months of neurosurgery in my training.
Sure.
And I saw that, the brain, there's very little room for error. I spent most of my time guddling around in people's pelvises, dealing with colon cancer. This is a whole different kettle of fish, if you will.
Accuracy is so important.
Well, yeah, pretty much. It's important in all surgery,
Yeah.
measure twice, cut once, but in neurosurgery it's critically important. And I know enough about the subject to be dangerous, and the true innovators here are Greg Fisher, who has built a robot that works inside an MRI. They've taken it all the way to human use in prostate.
Yeah.
But, and that was all done with NIH money. We then licensed it, started a company, but we've chosen as our first target neurosurgery because it's not a cluttered environment. No one else, there's a few other people playing in prostate, I believe.
Couple.
And no one was doing what we are able to do. And the other name to mention is Julie Politsis. Julie is a very, very brilliant functional neurosurgeon, and it was her idea to do this. And Julie is a force of nature and one of the sweetest people on the planet. So my role is just to try and tell silly jokes and help them get the money together and all the different assets. So it's an amazing adventure. And just one other thing, and I'm going to steal shamelessly from Bill Cook, who said, if you put the patient at the center of anything you do in medicine and you make their experience of healthcare better, you'll be commercially successful unless you're a complete klutz. So it's our job not to be complete klutzes.
You're doing a great job so far. Jeff, I'll throw it to you as well.
Let's see. So my background was originally in mechanical engineering. I got an MBA along the way at the Haas School of Business at Cal Berkeley. I've been in surgical robotics for a long time, since 2006. I had the opportunity to work at a company called Hansen Medical that did intravascular robotics and led some activities in their advanced development group. From there, I joined a company called Auris Health that, as their first employee, and helped grow that business through its first 5.5 years of life. We started off in cataract surgery. We built a cataract surgery robot that could actually go in and remove a cataract. It was fantastic. But ultimately pivoted to interventional pulmonology and biopsying lung lesions. At Moon Surgical, I'm the Chief Strategy Officer. It's a fantastic soft tissue robotic platform that is really revolutionizing the space in a way that we haven't seen to date. It's an entirely new category of robotic surgery where we enable surgeons to have complete control over all of their instruments without compromising their surgical technique, their preferred instrument set. And we do so in a way where we really have the ability to monitor the operating room with a variety of sensors and understand how to improve workflow efficiency. One thing I've learned throughout my career is how important workflow is and understanding workflow, especially around robotics, and optimizing it. And at Moon Surgical, we've kept user experience and workflow efficiency at the heart of things, and have developed a platform that is so incredibly easy to use. It only takes about 15 minutes to train a surgeon before they're functional and running, and you can't hold them back anymore.
Love what I've seen about that thus far as well. And Lawrence, I know we're going kind of in a different direction with image navigation, but really wholly supportive of what we're trying to do with the industry here. GPS navigation for the dentist.
Yes, dentists are challenged to do implants in the jaw. It used to be that dentists made their income doing crowns, but now implantology is extremely important to the dentist. And drilling a screw in the jaw, it doesn't require the same agility or hand-eye coordination as does doing a prep, a cavity, a crown prep. However, there's visualization challenges because the bone is submerged. The dentist is now doing orthopedic surgery. So what image navigation does is enable the dentist to see on screen where he's drilling and using the skills that he's built up without compromising any of the hand-eye coordination skills that he's built up over the years. I came into the company in 2008. It was a division of a public Australian company that had run out of money. My partner and I bought the company. We paid off all the debt and built up the team, and we've had now invested 20+ million. I have a couple of roles. One of my roles is to adhere the R&D goals to the US market, because the way dentistry works in the US is much different than the way dentistry works in Israel. Your target market is the large target market we have, dentists that own CT scanners, doesn't exist in Israel. And so that involves a lot of discipline with the R&D team. And also understanding how to develop the workflow that's patient-centric and dentist-centric. So on a small team, I need to do a lot of hands-on management of strategy, where there are people who are more qualified than I, and even some project management. But it's a lot of fun. And now we're out here raising a B round.
Nicolas, really enamored with what you guys are doing at Medinbox. So I look forward to telling the audience.
At Medinbox, we are digitalizing interventional rooms and cath labs. Since 14 years, we were the pioneers in what we called medical video collaboration. At the beginning, we came from medical education. I had the chance to work with the pioneers in interventional cardiology, and we were filming and transmitting procedures for live education or recorded case. And learning a technique is observe and being observed. So we moved from transmitting images for educating large audiences to giving access to the rooms from people from all around the world to give guidance during procedures. And interventional rooms are a very complex environment. There's a lot of imaging. If you take only an image of a camera, you will not have the entire view of the procedure. So we are integrating complex systems. We have built a platform, and we allow all the team, all the medical teams to receive guidance. We reduce also an important bottleneck for the industry about the technical support. A lot of procedures requires a sales rep or a clinical expert to be on site in the operating room with the surgeon, and they have difficulties to find the good match. There are difficulties to adjust the agendas of everybody, and giving this remote access is removing the barriers and reducing this bottleneck.
And Nicolas, if I remember right, you've had great uptake with your system thus far?
Sorry?
A lot of interest in the market in your system. You've been
There's
selling
a
it
lot
for a
of
while.
yes, there's a lot of interest. We already have a large footprint. The company is we have created the company in 2010. We have more than 350 systems worldwide. We are in every continent. Yes, there's a lot of traction. And it started. It took a long time. Why? Everybody's always asking why it's so long. We are old startup, and the market was long to to open because it was difficult the transition was difficult from the in-person to the digital. And the COVID happened a couple of years ago, and it was a real game changer for us because from pilots or just projects, we moved to the only available solution on the market. So we got a lot of exposure at that stage, and it changed everything for us.
Fantastic, fantastic. Lawrence, I had a question for you as well too, in that you've taken maybe a different tack to some others that are in your space, right? You don't use a robotic arm
Correct.
in your design. Why that decision? And how's it helping you advance the game for image?
Okay. We use navigation because, first of all, it's easy to connect to the teeth, and you have all the bone that's connected to the teeth. You can also put screws into the jaw if there are no teeth. So it's ideally set up for navigation, wherein you can have fiducials attached to the jaw and to the handpiece.
Right, okay.
The wild card is that the patient is moving and the tool is moving at the same time. There's no general anesthesia. So if you use any of the methods of for hip surgery or spine surgery, wherein you have a barcode type tracker and you have a delay of a half a second or a second and a half in the image update, then the navigation won't work. So we decided to put our investment into developing a no-lag tracking. We update the on-screen position 50 times a second. It's faster than the blink of an eye. And that allows the dentist to operate freehand, and he can depend on what's on the screen. But if you can't depend on what's on the screen, then it would be logical in dental implantology to go to a robotic arm. But a robotic arm has a cost of $70,000, at least the ones that our competitor is using. And I don't think it's as accurate as the hands of the actual dentist. So I guess we saw an opportunity, we saw the clinical need, which was to let the dentist operate, and we saw an opportunity to create real-time tracking with no delay.
Thank you. Jeff, I'm going to come back to you as well, because I remember from our conversation, you guys really have decided to take a specific, unique tact in robotic surgery, right? Supporting the surgeon versus going after kind of the same markets that others are going after. So tell us a little bit about why you decided that.
Yeah, so with us, one of the things we realized is there's a large surgeon shortage that we're facing, and it takes about 9 years to train a general surgeon, for instance. And the last thing you want to do is introduce technology that is complex, so complex that it requires them to do additional fellowships, or they have to spend weeks at training programs. And so we said, what can we do to empower their existing tools, their existing techniques, to enable them to do more, with those things they already have. And so in looking at that, we figured out that one of the most important things was to not disrupt the surgeon from looking at the screen, the laparoscopic video feed. Because when they're looking at the screen and they're manipulating the tools, that means the surgery is progressing. And in our development process, we thought about all the things that we could do. And if it brought that surgeon's eyes away from the screen, we thought really hard on whether that was worth it or not. Because if we can keep the surgeon going, if we can keep that procedure progressing, then that doesn't disrupt that workflow. It doesn't disrupt the flow of laparoscopy.
Again, that focus on workflow, yeah. All right, maybe I'd like to understand a bit more about your journeys, right, through this process as well. So trying to help us understand, and Lawrence, maybe we'll start with you this time. kind of the challenges that you guys have experienced in developing, getting this funded, approved, and commercialized over the last several years.
So I started operating the company in 2008. And the GPS for dental implantology, a GPS needs a map, which is a CT scan of the jaw. However, dental CT scanners in 2006 cost $500,000. So the investor base, the investors I spoke to, viewed this as a scientific oddity because taking a dental patient for an implant down to Mount Sinai Hospital and putting them in a CT scanner made no sense. So I really couldn't get any meetings with VCs until like 2016 or 2017 when the inflection point was reached and dental CT scanners started to take off. Even so, it was really difficult. So we were able to fund primarily through angels. And it's like that Rudyard Kipling poem, if you can hold on when every nerve and sinew says give up. We faced many of those. I had a very courageous partner with a longer-term vision. And, King Solomon says, cast your bread on the waters, and the interpretation is you don't know what is going to come in for you. So I never dreamed that my investor would put up over $10 million into the company, but that's what happened. The other thing that irritates me no end is that one of our competitors raised $130 million, and I'm sure I'm better, and I admit I'm jealous, and you would think that one of the savvy VCs that invested in that would have done an internet search and called me, but some of these guys I wrote and they wouldn't even take a meeting. So I think that's part of the barrier of lack of in-person contact. I think this conference helps. I've met a couple of people here that I couldn't otherwise meet. I also think the game shifted from when I was an analyst and investment banker, sending emails to people and calling people. It's much harder to connect with people now. That's sort of the gestalt.
If we've got investors in the crowd, let's make sure we change that. Thank you.
Yes.
Nicolas, challenges that you experienced through the last several years, really since 2010, getting this commercialized.
So we have a special history. We are bootstrapped so far. I think there's not a lot of companies like us in this area, and also that's something that gives us the feeling to be like like a cactus in Greenland. We are profitable. So someone told us that maybe that's just the organizer who are profitable in this place.
Yeah.
But it's linked that how the business was driven. So we started from medical education. We spread with KOL all around the world. So it was the leading educational centers. And we were reinvesting every time the results in software development and sales. And for the sales, we never had the sales force. It was always our sales force was our customers. So we developed the business like that. And I remember just after COVID, I started to receive calls from VCs asking us how much that we needed. And I had no answer because at that stage, we were still in the process to develop organically the company. And they were starting to explain, you have people raising money, look at Proximi, look at Veil. Yeah. And we said, yes, okay, that's interesting. But we have to process and to think. And we have processed. Now we are done thinking, and we are in the process now to raise money, but it's quite new. We are not in a rush. We are looking for partners who will help us to develop the company and the business. And that's a new story, which is very interesting and challenging because I think it's not the perfect timing to raise money today, but it's challenging and really interesting.
It's been a nice road that we talked about, kind of from inception until now. So, and Jonathan, you came on to kind of help through some of these challenges, right? Help aim through some of these challenges.
Yeah, I mean, from my perspective as someone who invests and I've started companies, when you start a company, it's because it's something you love or you're good at, or preferably both. And if you think you've had a great idea, chances are a lot of people who haven't had that idea won't get it. If it's obvious, then it's probably not unique. And if it's obvious, then it's probably a Me Too product, and it's probably not going to give the great returns. I don't like to boast about those sort of things, but when you get those things right, my goodness, it's satisfying, right? So let me think. I'd like a couple of quotes. One would be Asimov, and I'm paraphrasing, I can never remember these things. To the uninitiated, any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Investors, especially sophisticated investors, not me, I'm not sophisticated, but VCs, they want to see all sorts of projections, they want certainty, they want accuracy. And I've had conversations about AIM with some investors who said, come back to us when you've finished your first in human. I said, my dear chap, when we've done first in human, I'm not coming back to you, right? If I have to mortgage my house and sell my kidneys, that's what I'll do, right? Because that is not a venture investment, that's a sure bet, right? So the environment has changed. The second quote would, I think it's Seneca, that neither has a jewel sparkled without abrasion nor a man achieved without challenge. I actually relish these things. It's what makes the juices flow, right? When you take something and you're told, no, you can't, and it's a Thursday evening and you have no idea how you're going to make payroll. Incidentally, does anyone else think that we're in like the 1960s in an LSD dream? It's very bizarre.
I've been noticing that out of the top of my eyes.
But, you know, this technology went through peer review at the NIH 3 times, and Greg Fisher won those grants. And anyone who's met this, he's a sweetheart, but he's like, if you call central casting and said, send me a mad scientist, you get Greg. Boundless enthusiasm, brilliant invention. He then takes it all the way to using it on a human being, on 30 human beings, in fact, in a prostate trial, and it did what it says on the tin. Now we've moved it to do the same thing in the brain. And people are saying, yeah, but you know, it's the brain. It's not a prostate. Yes, understood, but it's the concept of targeting. It's the concept of precision. I fly aeroplanes for giggles. A Piper Cub can fly from point A to point B just like an F-16 can, but they're designed to do different things. And it's like saying, well, we can't build an F-35 because we've never built an F-35. Well, you built the F-16, technology's moved on, go with the flow. Right. So I think the trick is have a great team, you know, have a good idea, right, certainly, but have a great team, and have a great team. We've got a great team. I'm just there as cheerleader and glue.
And there's some interesting progress over the last.
There's amazing progress.
Yeah.
Last week, we finished the version that's ready to, you know, go through the design history file, ISO 13485. We have done all the in vitro testing. We've done pigs, and we last week did a cadaveric head. We hit the target the first time, and the motto is hit the target first time every time. Because if anyone here knows anyone who's had a brain tumor or Parkinson's disease or epileptogenic surgery and has had to have it repeated because they missed, right? That's what this technology does. And again, put the patient at the center of all we do. We'll save money, we'll do it more effectively, more efficiently. It's a better patient experience, and it doesn't disrupt the workflow. As a surgeon, you're 100% correct. Because if you disrupt the workflow, and by the way, what you don't do in the United States of America, where I practiced for many years, you do not hit the medical team in the pocketbook. Because if you do that, don't care how good your technology is, it ain't working. And by the way, Triple Ring need a big thank you for the work that you guys did on this technology.
Thank you. Jeff, tell us about your journey.
Let's see. So I would say two of the biggest challenges that we continually face are distractions and assumptions. And I think in fleshing out any opportunity, focusing on is this a distraction or is this something that we really need to do is an incredibly important question that you need to ask yourself. The second thing is assumptions. And we all go through developing new technologies with base assumptions. The technology does this, it'll be successful, this is the value it creates. You constantly need to get out there and test that assumption. And that means also getting outside of your echo chamber. Don't just talk to the same people that look like you or talk like you or in your network. Get out and talk to as many people as you can. And that is what allows you to bring that information back, continuously iterate, change your assumptions, and ultimately end up with a product that is very high value to ultimately your customer. That's the mindset that we've built at Moon Surgical and has allowed us to actually stay very fast and focused because we've set up very deliberate milestones. And anything that comes up, we say, is that something that we should be doing right now? Is that, going to take us away from moving the ball forward towards the next milestone? And we even think about, is it good enough to kind of move on to the next thing, right? Because you can always come back and grab the ball again and move it forward. And so we are constantly playing this game where we're looking at our assumptions, thinking about our distractions, and figuring out how to keep progressing towards our milestones as aggressively as possible.
Such a challenging thing to do, particularly with smart technical teams that want to investigate, resolve challenges that do come up you don't necessarily need to deal with right now.
Yeah. There's a lot of times where we say, let's put that on the shelf and we'll readdress it later, right?
Come back to that later.
Yeah, and there's plenty of things like brilliant ideas that we should look at, right? And it would be so cool on our system, but it may increase the friction. It may disrupt the workflow. It may, delay timelines. And we can't do that right now. Yeah.
Great. And I'm going to be mindful of time here, so I'm probably going to go to my last question, throw it all out at you. But as you're starting to approach meeting your initial goals, kind of what's next for the organization? Where are you going next? Jonathan, why don't we let you start?
Well, there's a very clear Gantt chart. You know what a Gantt chart is, a piece of paper with colored lines and dates that no one in their right mind expects you'll hit. So, yeah, we have that, and obviously it's to bring it to market. The first target is to place DBS leads with precision. Only 1 in 10 patients who qualify for a DBS procedure go ahead with it because they don't want to be awake with their head open, and they don't want to have a second operation. So if we can increase the DBS market, we think that's interesting. But then I personally want us to explore, I love this expression, assumptions and distractions. There are some surgical targets that I'd like to hit with MRI imaging. And, when there's sufficient money and scale in the organization, because again, if you put the patient at the center of all you do, and we're all going to be patients sooner or later. So yeah, other targets and just sort of stand in the background and watch Greg Fisher do magic.
Nicolas.
So at Medinbox, we are committed to help medical teams to improve patient care. And for that, we still have this historical aspect of education and help between doctors. And as we are using a lot of video, a lot of material in rooms, the next stage will be to use all the data to give guidance, to allow the medical teams to watch their efficiency, watch how to improve techniques, to compare with other centers, and use all this data to always give a better patient care. This is what we are trying to do and what we want to do next.
Great. Lawrence?
What we are doing now is a pilot group of users, of 5 to 10 users. We have approval in Israel, we'll have approval in Europe soon, and we want to show a high utilization rate among those users. And I really benefited from the guidance of my CTO and my board in stating the investors would like to see this pilot, and yes, we have feature A prime that will be ready in 40 days, but let's not go with feature A prime. The users are receiving the system at quite a discount, so they'll have to understand that it will be cumbersome in a number of areas, and they will work with us. And then, I have the team that goes the other way. If they're a little uncertain about something, they'll want to get it very strict and perfect. We had to explain to them, no, we're doing it very simple and basic. So that's it. It's a soft launch among a group of 5 to 10 users. We're training one user now as we speak, and then we'll layer in the improvements as they become tuned and finalized.
Jeff, I know you're going to stay very centered on this question of what's next to keep focus going, but what's next?
Well, I just wanted to reaffirm what Lawrence just said. It's incredibly important. The value of something like a soft launch or getting your systems out there as quickly as possible is so important because it lets you identify the things that you got right and got wrong and what assumptions you just completely messed up, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the sooner that you can do that, the better off you are at tweaking and changing your product so that you can resolve those issues. So again, yeah, for what's next, at Moon, one of the things that we did very early on is we dove deep into a value analysis and understood what are all the different ways that we could create value for all the different stakeholders across a care system, whether that's the administrator, the surgeon, the patient, biomed department, nurses. And then we identified these different kind of value creation points and then put ourselves in their shoes and said, what are the reasons that we would say no or say if this company is full of BS, like they don't know what they're talking about? And then thought about ways to actually dislodge those opinions.
Sure.
And that generated what we call our reasons to believe that our product does what it say it does. And that's what's next for us. We're out challenging our assumptions, doing things like pilots, doing things like limited market releases, and starting to collect that information to go in with those reasons to believe and say, look, this is what Maestro does. It'll change your operating room and keep your teams so incredibly happy.
That's a great way to think of it. Willingness to challenge yourself, I think, is such an important thing to do through any of these endeavors. So I want to thank you all for taking the time out of your day. I know it's been a busy day to sit down with us and talk through these, your businesses, your challenges, your backgrounds. I don't know if any audience has any questions, if we're allowing questions from the group, but certainly happy to open that up. Otherwise, we will let everyone get to dinner and drinks tonight. So thank you all.
Thank you.
Thanks.